right, FaceTime Friday. Casey Kiernan. Hey, what's up?
Hi, you just saved me from some online shopping, so thanks for the call.
Saved you from what?
Some online shopping. I was
Ah.
literally just scrolling through a Facebook ad.
So this is FaceTime Friday. We've been doing a few of these with some of the Zap riders, and I wanted to catch up with you. And so I'm happy I got you on the line and derailed your online shopping.
Yeah.
But what you been up to?
Um, just been working out, staying pretty active with paddle boarding. The skim hasn't been good because we have had crazy wind, like 30-mile-an-hour winds for like 2 weeks straight now, which is insane.
What's that from, you think?
There's just like all these like little tropical systems, and I don't know. And then we had a couple cold fronts that dropped us down to like a high of 79 degrees. So that brought a lot of strong northeast winds, and the wind just like sticks around.
Yeah. So for everybody out there that's watching, tell us where you're at right now. And, you're talking about the weather, but you're in Florida. I think most people know that, but where in Florida?
So I am in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. That's where I live. It's like right next to Jupiter, just north of West Palm Beach. So pretty much like the north end of Palm Beach County. So South Florida for everyone who doesn't know all those locations.
Yeah, South Florida. I had some years down there. So it's been windy, not much skimming, paddle boarding. I've been seeing a lot of paddleboard posts from you. What's gotten you so into that recently? Just the lack of waves?
Yeah, right. I was actually gonna do this fundraising event called the Crossing for Cystic Fibrosis. It was supposed to be last June. So at the beginning of the year, I started training for it, and it's stand-up paddleboarding from the Bahamas to Lake Worth, Florida. So it's like an 80-mile paddle. So I started training for that, and then that got canceled back in March. But I just kept training because there was like this local like weekly race league, and I just figured it was a good workout, and I'm gonna keep doing it just to like get the exercise. And then I just kind of got like really like included into the community of like all the paddle boarders, and everyone was just like really encouraging with like helping me get better and like encouraging me to race and like do like legit races. And since there were no skim contests, I thought it was like so perfect because like I still got to keep like my competitive side going and like compete for something and just like keep pushing myself. So it ended up like working out really good.
So you have been doing races in addition to training for the long distance one?
Yeah, for sure.
How are your results?
Good.
I imagine you're like killing it if I know you.
Yeah. It's so funny because like
It was like, where'd you come from, girl? Like,
I know, right? I came from the beach, just skimboarding. No, so I did two like really big races. One was in South Carolina like a month and a half ago, and then one was in Key West last month. And those are, I don't know, they're just like really big races, and I got third place in both of them. And the divisions, they're like basically like open division, so it's like people that are like amateurs and pros, like they're all in one division, like for the women's, because they don't like necessarily have a pro division and an am division, even though like everyone like competes and like is at like that kind of pro like standard level. So like the girl that got first place, she's literally the best in the world, like number one in the world. And the one that got second place, she's like top 10 probably. And then there is me, like right next to them on the podium, and I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Okay, this is making me think about something, and maybe this is the way we can talk about kind of how I want to get into some women in sports, just like your thoughts on things. But I've noticed that as somebody that runs skim contests, a lot of times I've seen before, you got somebody like you, like world champion skimboarder in a pro division, but sometimes there's only like four girls competing, and this girl comes in, like, can step in and, like, make a pro final sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know, is there any correlation there? I'm just like, you know what I'm thinking about. I don't think I'm quite saying it, getting my point across, but it's interesting to me. I know there's so many good female athletes out there, but why is there such, like, sometimes at that high level, is it these niche sports that we're in that it doesn't attract a lot of, I don't, help me finish what I'm trying to say here.
Okay, yeah. So I think,
Or did you feel any, like, relation to that, I guess is what I'm asking, like, skimming and like, the participation level there? Was it ironic to you to be that person stepping in to, like, pretty much one of your earlier competitions, all of a sudden you're, like, right behind one of the top people in the world? I've seen that happen to other girls in our sport. Be right
right,
behind you, and it'd be, like, their
yeah,
second contest, whether
right,
they're a
yeah.
great skimmer or just somebody really just stepping into it. It's kind of interesting and a little weird to me sometimes.
It is. I don't know. I think, like as far as like kind of like a like random competitor, like kind of coming out of nowhere and everyone's like, oh, who's this person? Like they made it in the final or they made it to the podium and we don't even know who they are kind of thing. I think that kind of comes from just kind of maybe like underground training or just like getting into the sport and doing it on their own and not really knowing about the world of competition. And then someone tells them, oh, you should compete, and then they do it. So I think that's where we find like
Yeah, I
these
think you're
girls
right.
that come in and then we're like, oh, where'd you come from? And, they just kind of didn't know about
Like,
like
you're really good.
other
Like, where you
sports. Yeah,
been?
right,
That's
yeah,
probably what the
because
reaction you got, right?
yeah, exactly. But I think what happened with me with paddling. So I've been training with like the top guys, like in Florida, like and that, like pretty much in the nation too. Um, and I think that's what happens with some of the girls too, because like depending on where they live, maybe they're just going to their local beach and there's some like really good skimmers there, like maybe guys that are pro, and that's just normal to them to go to the beach and skim with these guys, so they've naturally gotten better. And then they start competing, and that's kind of why they're at that higher level.
Yeah, and I think too the sports we're talking about are really niche and not just like to the areas that they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so
Yeah,
there, if you're like a female in Dewey Beach, you're around the best skimmers in the world. Like, you're gonna get pretty good pretty quick,
for sure.
and then you're gonna show up somewhere else where you come from. Just, I imagine how
Exactly.
Florida is. Like, there's probably a lot of really good paddleboarders in Florida because it's always warm and tons of water.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's
Definitely.
interesting.
Yeah.
So you're a former world champion skimmer, right?
Yes.
And how many times did you win the UST? I should know this. I'm your team manager.
Just
I'm sorry.
twice. It's
Twice,
okay. Yeah.
but not the most recent one.
No.
Sophia
Yeah.
is the
It's
most
always
recent.
been a close one.
Sophia, what's her last name?
When?
Yeah, Win. She's a really good skimmer. She's kind of one of the people I think about, of like a girl coming out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, like,
Yeah.
wow, this girl's really good, and she was
Yeah.
really good.
Definitely.
Um, so what's it like being a world champion skimmer? I know it's a little different than being a world champion of another sport. Something I always wanted. I never quite attained it in my professional skimming, but what's it like?
Yeah. For me, like on the daily, like I don't feel like I'm a world champion just because like I'm just a normal person like anyone else who skims and just competes and I do what I love. But I just have this title. But it's pretty cool though when I go to the beach and there's these like kids there and they're like, hey, like don't you skimboard? I follow you on Instagram. Oh my gosh, dude, she's a world champion. And those kinds of things. I'm like, oh, like
Yeah,
that's
it's got to be
pretty
pretty
cool.
gratifying.
Yeah, and then like when other people find out, because like I don't like just like tell people like, oh, I'm a world champion skimboarder, like when I
You
meet them,
should. That should be
I,
your
I
that should be your lead into most conversations.
I don't know, I'm a little too humble for that.
No, I know you're not that type of person.
But when people find out, they're like, wow, why didn't you tell us you're a world champ? I'm like, I don't know, because I'm just a normal person. It's just something that I do. But it's really cool because a lot of people like like think that that's so awesome. And they kind of like look up to me. So, you know, if they have a kid that wants a skim lesson or they know somebody and like they're referred to me, like I love being able to like use that and like teach other kids how to skim, or just kind of like be there to like even talk to someone or have a conversation with someone that's like just getting into the sport, because I know how much that impacts them when they go home and they're like, oh my gosh, like I got to hang out with a world champion. Because I know when I started skimming and like I just saw like the pros, like I remember the first time I saw Brad Domke, I was like, oh my gosh, like he's a pro skimboarder, like that's crazy. You know, I didn't even like say hi to him or anything. So I could only imagine, you know, like the impact that I can have. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely something to be proud of, and it seems like it's really something that it's a very marketable thing for a professional athlete to be a world champion. It's kind of difficult to, make money in a small sport like skimboarding and really use it to your advantage for endorsements per
Yeah.
se, but I feel like a lot of companies like really it's a notch on your belt. I mean, you're etched in history, and I think, it's a pretty attractive thing to an outsider knowing somebody's like a world champion, a master at their craft, in their
Yeah.
sport. So, um, yeah, I think it's really cool, but it's also interesting. It's also very different than being a world champion in other sports. Where you probably may not be able to walk down the street in a lot of sports as a world champion.
Yeah.
And you
Right.
might get a lot of financial success like immediately with that. It's not really the case in skimboarding.
Yeah. For sure.
But you're pointing out some really awesome, rewarding benefits of it. So that's
Yeah.
that's cool that you're feeling that. And
Yeah, I like that the most for sure.
tell me a little bit about your lessons. That's something you're trying to build a little bit, right?
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot more lessons, like especially over the summer. You know, there's just a lot of kids that want to get into skimming, and a couple of shops here are like really good with helping to promote skimming and Zap too. They have a lot of Zaps and stuff, which is awesome to like see like my whole beach filled up with these kids with Zap skimboards. But yeah, I've just been giving a lot of lessons, and like their friend like would like refer them to me, and so it's really good just getting to like build off of that and like seeing these kids like enjoy and the sport and just like continue to progress and get their friends into it and just kind of build a little bit more of a community here, which is one thing that I really want to do too, like with my lessons. And like I've also like this year I started doing free skim clinics once a month. I had to put that on hold because of COVID, but I started doing that just because I want to build like a strong skim community here in Jupiter. Like there's a pretty strong skim community for sure, but I just want to keep building on it. And
Yeah, there's always been a lot of skimmers out at Jupiter, I feel like.
yeah, because it's always been
It's like
pretty
the first
consistent
spot you can get some
with
swell in South Florida, I feel like,
yeah,
right? If you're
yeah.
heading from south to north, I remember when I was in Fort Lauderdale, I like, definitely did a few trips, like driving, what was that, about an hour north, hour and a half?
Yeah, at least, yeah.
Two
Yeah,
hours
so,
maybe.
right. It
Yeah.
depends on the traffic. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
but
I
it seems
definitely
like you
want to
guys
just,
pick up like one of the last spots to really get more consistent swell in South Florida. Am I correct with that?
we usually, I would say, like, here in Jupiter, like, we usually get, like, the first of the swell. Like, especially, I don't know, it's good unless it's, like, a refraction swell, then, like, down south, like, further south of us gets it. But
The misto refraction swell.
yeah, but it's usually pretty good, like when there is some kind of system in the water or like a cold front that pushes through, like, and the waves usually stick around for a while too, because there's been so many days where we've had like this, like at least like a thigh high, like clean little swell here, and then you go a half hour south and it's like a lake, nothing at all. So I've
Good
been
spot to
pretty,
pick up some swell.
yeah. So I've been pretty stoked to live here, like on the north end of the county. We're just a half hour south. It's completely flat.
So if somebody wanted to get up with you for some lessons, how would they do that?
Just get in touch with me any way you can through like Instagram or my phone number or Facebook,
Yeah. Is that how most of your people get up with you, through the social media?
Some do, but mostly it's pretty local where a lot of like kids and their parents will go into like the surf shop and they're maybe going to buy a skimboard and they ask if anyone does lessons. So I'm usually referred to people like through the different like skim shops or
what shops what shops in your area could somebody get up with you through?
Definitely Ocean Magic Surf Shop in Jupiter. Also Blue Line, Surf and Paddle. And then Locals is another good one, and Groundswell. So they all know me pretty well. So
sweet. Well, hopefully some people will see this video and holler at you for some lessons. I've been doing a ton of lessons up here in Delaware. It's been a long season. As you can see, we got some sunny weather. It's like that Indian summer. I mean, we usually don't do lessons much after September, but we've been pushing straight through the fall. It's been pretty cool.
That's awesome. Have the waves been good?
The waves have been pretty fun. We had a really good swell 2 weekends ago, like a big surf swell from Hurricane Epsilon. I think we're going to put some photos on the blog before this interview goes up next week. And but yeah, winching, more surfing this time of year than skimming, but it's been a pretty nice fall.
Cool. Well, send some of those waves my way, please.
Yeah, right, for sure. So aside from paddleboarding, a little bit of skimming, what else you got going on the regular? I know you're working.
Yeah, so I'm a dietitian. So I'm working as a dietitian, just doing.
You drink Starbucks every morning?
No, I don't.
Should I kick this habit?
Well, is it black? What do you have?
Straight black. I don't put nothing in it.
That's okay.
Good. Kind of hurts my stomach a little bit when I drink too much of it.
Okay, well then don't drink too much of it.
You don't drink coffee?
Well, I did yesterday just because it was there, but I don't normally drink coffee because I don't want to have to depend on caffeine.
Okay.
I figure I'll keep that for like when I have kids and I really like need that like extra get up in the morning.
Need it right here in my vein every morning.
Yeah, so I'll wait for that.
So I'll ask all my diet questions after you tell me a little more about your job.
Okay. So I'm just doing nutrition counseling right now at a nursing home because I'm kind of in between jobs. But yeah, I've just been like working as a clinical dietitian, so just helping people figure out like what diet they need to be on to reach their goals, and a lot of the factors with that depends on like what health conditions they have, like any like certain like disease like history, or just whatever's going on with them at the moment and their history, and then like with their goals too.
I think I need you.
Yeah,
I think I need to
a lot of people do.
Yeah, I think the older you get, the more you realize like you need to figure that right recipe out for optimum performance and not getting old and lame.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important too, like just to like understand all this when you're younger and not like, oh, I can eat whatever I want and not gain a pound. It's like, I get that, but like there's gonna
it'll
be
catch up with you
in 30 years. Yeah, that's what everyone says. Like it'll catch up to you, and it will. Like you'll see it, and things that aren't like necessarily like visible. Like you might not gain the weight, but like stuff can be going on inside, like with your heart or like your GI tract that you don't know about, and so it's really important just to like start young and just pay attention to your health.
I'm starting to think that and you're probably like, like gut health is really important, like for the whole like system operating right. And I don't even know much about it, but we'll save that for another call, talking about my gut. But honestly, I feel like your services are probably going to be needed more than ever here in the future, as everybody's realizing how much some of the ways we ate 10 years ago were not very good, all the processed food and things like that. People still eat that way, and we're all guilty of it, but yeah, that's really interesting to me. I could spend the whole call asking you questions about that. Where do you want to go with that? You said you're in between jobs. Like, what's the ideal job and vision there for that?
Well, right now I'm just looking to get back like into a hospital setting. I think I want to do more of like like critical patients and critical care, you know, like patients that are like in the ICU and like needing like feeding tubes, you know, the things that are going to sustain them like while their body's fighting and like they're going through these like gnarly surgeries and like all this stuff. So I think I want to do that for a while, just for the challenge of it.
Yeah,
And
that
it
sounds
just,
horrible.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
it's tough.
What's wrong with you, Casey?
It's tough,
We
but
need
like
people
when
like
you're
you.
really making an impact, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're really like helping someone,
Much
you know,
respect.
because
We need aggressive people like you.
I've worked in the hospital for the patients that like don't have as serious things going on, where I'm like, oh, like how you doing? You want to learn about, you know, this new diet that you should be on or eating a little bit healthier? And they're like, no, I don't care. I've been living this way for 50 years. I'm not going to change. So, you know, I'm just like, okay, then what am I doing here? Like, let me just go like write this down and chart in my paperwork, just saying like this guy didn't want me to help him.
You need to
know,
sink your teeth into your work.
Yeah, exactly. So, I do want to use like my nutrition expertise and like my passion for like nutrition and health and fitness. And as well as like skimboarding and paddleboarding and like my passion for all of that. I want like my overall like goal, like the one thing I want to do, which I've started on, is my nonprofit organization, and it's called the Swell Life Foundation. And the whole premise of it, my whole mission, is to connect underprivileged youth with access to like fun and healthy living through ocean-based activities. So that's going to be like paddling and skimming and fishing and all that, as well as teaching them about nutrition and healthy living and all these things that they wouldn't normally get taught about. And because I just want to help promote positive life choices and like help set them up for success. Because I know for me, like where I'm at, like all of those things got me to where I'm at, and like I'm pretty stoked. So I just want to be able to share that.
Yeah, you're awesome. You're like, what is your inspiration for all of this? Like, you're inspiring me right now. Just like you really have some serious goals and focus. How do you stay so focused and like you're aggressive?
Yeah,
but you don't always come off so aggressive. But like listening to you talk, like, damn, you're really getting after it.
Yeah, I'm just passionate about people. I honestly, like, I have to say that, like, the root of everything comes from my faith, just because as a teenager, I lost both my parents, like, within a 3-year time frame of each other, and life was really hard, and I was like, all right, well, I have no parents, and, like, who do I turn to? You know, I'm like, well, like, I grew up and my grandma always told me to pray, so, like, let's just keep praying and, like, keep the faith, whatever that is, and, you know, so I just was going to church and just continuing to, like, you know, be strong in my faith that things would work out, and just to, like, you know, help people and love people. And so many people, like, loved me and helped me through these hard times in my life. And I just felt like, even though, like, I went through, like, such hard times, you know, there was just a lot to be thankful for and a lot to pursue, and you know, a lot of opportunity out there, just to be happy, like, just with waves and skimming and stuff, you know. So I was just really grateful for that. So, that's where, like, you know, mostly everything comes from. And then I just love, like I said, I just love helping people and making people smile. And a lot of the community, like with paddle boarding and like Piper's Angels Foundation and stuff, like I've recently, like within this last year, gotten really involved with them, and like they're all incredibly inspirational people.
What's Piper's Angels?
Piper's Angels Foundation is a foundation that's local, but also helps families all over the nation and everything. So it's for individuals and families affected by cystic fibrosis. And what they do is they do a bunch of fundraising to help, you know, these families and individuals if they need, like, money for, like, to help pay bills, or if they need medications, you know, and they can't really make ends meet with those things. But they also do other things that are really awesome, like getting these individuals with cystic fibrosis onto the ocean, and like ocean-based, like, activities like paddle boarding and surfing. They'll send kids down to Costa Rica to go surf, you know, like just to be able to be in the salt water environment, because breathing in the salt air helps with lung function like so much. So one thing they really want to do is just like help like spread that and get individuals that are affected by cystic fibrosis like involved in ocean-based activities. So that's why the crossing for cystic fibrosis, that's their largest fundraising event.
That's the one that you were going to do to the paddle to the Bahamas.
Yeah. So wow. So there's just so many inspirational people that I've run into and that have come into my life, and I'm always inspired by them. And it's just like a snowball effect of inspiration. I love it.
That's awesome. I think can I call you every morning to get my day going and feeling positive? You should be like a motivational speaker or something.
That'd be cool.
I woke up hungover. It was my friend's birthday. I'm like, I need your inspiration this morning. It's great.
Oh, thanks.
I'm good. I'm gonna get some breakfast after this call, and I'm gonna go skimboarding, and yes. It's gonna be a good day.
Yeah, soak in the sun and inspiration. You'll find it out there.
No, but I'm with you. You know, that's really positive. I believe just loving and putting good energy out there is pretty basic importance in life, you know, especially in these crazy election times, which I'm not going to get into, but, you know, at the end of the day, everybody just needs to chill out and enjoy this experience we have, you know.
Be happy, love each other, like, that's it.
Yeah, right.
Simple as that.
So speaking of love, you got a boyfriend of many years. Are you guys engaged? No? Am I putting
Everyone asks that. No.
For all the men out there.
No, but, you know, the holidays are around the corner, so.
I'm going to just shut my mouth. I don't want to, like...
we're coming up on
blow anybody's spot up.
February, so, so things are wonderful and great.
What's your man's name?
Chris.
We've skimmed together. He skims, too. He can throw a slash down.
For sure. It's funny because he's gotten so much better over the years since, like, we started dating. Like, he skimmed way before I met him, and then he stopped for a number of years, and then we met, and then he picked it up again. And, you know, he was okay, like, when we started. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, he can get on the board, he can throw some spray. Like, that's pretty rad, you know? But over the years, like now he's like trying to get barreled, like he's doing these like nice raps and tucking in, and I'm like so stoked every time I see that. I'm just like, yay, like you've gotten so much better. And like when my friends see him, because like at the contest, my friends will be like, oh my gosh, like I haven't seen him in a year, and like he's gotten so much better. Like, yeah, I know, I teach him well.
Yeah. You guys are quite the power couple.
Thanks, yeah. Especially when we're Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, that's what was my lead into your Halloween costume. We're going to link that in the blog for the interview for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, I was...
Did you show my sister that? She dressed up as Hulk Hogan.
Oh, yeah,
she loves it. She loves getting into that character, and I'm sure you did too.
That was her favorite. Yeah, no, it was awesome.
Body slamming people all night.
Right, yeah. I didn't think it was going to be as awesome as it was, but, like, everybody loved me, and then I won $250 in the costume contest, so I'm like, best night ever. Like, I'm totally keeping this costume forever.
Did you Western dance as Hulk?
Line dance.
It's line dancing, sorry. Is there something called Western dancing and line dancing?
Probably, but Western
line
dancing is
the
like
official...
the 1950s or something.
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
My neighbor talking all loud. I probably heard some lawnmowers and neighbors in this interview. So yeah, I wanted to know about your line dancing. I see you getting down on the gram sometimes.
Yeah,
but
I love
you know, we've partied a bunch in our years traveling to contests, but I've never really seen you line dance out when we were partying. But then I see you line dancing. Was this something you only do in Florida? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, well, I mean, take me to a country bar up there, and I'll totally get down on the dance floor line dancing.
I'll have to research that, but I'm sure if we had like 15 minutes west from here, no problem.
Yeah. There's not too many on the coast, but here.
You ever think about trying to bring that vibe to the coast?
You should.
You should.
You should bring it to your coast.
Yeah, not me. I'm not the line dancer.
we have our country bar like pretty close to the beach over here, you know, because like everyone like loves country. Not everyone, but a lot of people. Like, you know, the country scene's pretty big down here. So line dancing, I love it, and I've been line dancing for I don't know, probably like 6 years at least. And I hated it when I first started it because I couldn't understand how to move my feet and remember which steps to do. And then I just like learned one song all the way through. Went to the country bar like the next week. That song came on. I did it. I was like, that was so much fun, you know. And then I just kept picking it up from there and just learn dances like out there on the spot or like on YouTube. But yeah, I love it. It's like right up there with skimboarding.
I'm Googling right now because I was trying to remember something. So you're a country music fan?
Oh yes.
Do you know the guy from Delaware who's really big? Jimmy Allen?
Oh yeah.
He's from here. He's
That's
local.
Cool. Yeah.
He like plays in Dewey sometimes.
I think I saw like maybe last year or the year before I saw he was playing at what's it, Cork and Bottle or whatever?
Bottle and Cork. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw he was playing there like a couple
So he's
years
pretty
ago.
hip, I think. Like I feel like I could maybe get down with him a little bit.
Yeah.
Like his music seems a little more progressive country.
There's some good like new progressive stuff that's like a little more
not
like
as cheesy. There's a lot of cliche thoughts when you think about country music.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love, like, 90s, like, George Strait, like, I love that old stuff. Not, like, super old, but, like, a little bit older, but the new stuff is fun, and, like,
I'm high
energy, so I love, like, all the new stuff, too, so.
Does Chris have a truck and, like, with a bench seat? And you sit next to him, you know?
No, he, like, puts his, like, giant, like, divider down between us, but he does have a big truck.
Sweet. Yeah. Well, I don't think I can ramble any longer. No one's going to listen to us much longer. I think I covered most of the stuff. Is there anything you want to talk about before we cut this call short? I kind of like ending it on the country music.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's about it. But
yeah,
I mean,
we can link some stuff in the...
I would want to like tell them to just like keep building the skim community with love.
Yeah. Peace, love.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're a good inspiration for a lot of skimmers in the skim community out there, and I appreciate your time today. I'm gonna get some media from you after we hang up or later today, and work on putting some pics and links in the blog for everybody to get some updates. So if you have some clips or photos you want to share, send them on over.
Okay, will do.
All right, Casey, thank you for the time. I'll be calling you. I'll be calling you next Monday for my weekly inspiration and diet advice.
For sure.
All right, have a good day. Hopefully, I'll throw some slashes on the gram for you guys later. And go out and get some selfies in the sand. It's hard to find people to skim with this time of year.
Yeah, well, it's probably cold.
Especially when you're like 38, dude. None of my friends want to skim. They're like, "You still skimboard?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna stop." Yeah, so yeah, come on up here whenever you're ready for a road trip. I need skim buddies.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'll have to do that for sure.
Hopefully we have at least a skim contest you can come to next year.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Casey, have a great day.
All right, cool.
Peace.
Catch some waves for me.
Yeah, for sure. Later.
Yeah.